You know that word, right?
Uh-uh.
This one? The
The
country
mouse
mouse and
and
the
the
city mouse.
mouse.
City mouse. Country mouse, city mouse. A city mouse was once invited to visit a friend who lived in the country. She had always been curious about country life, so she packed a little bag, cheese, and went.
Is that for eating?
That's what lots of mice like to eat.
I am a mice.
You are a mouse when you have a big piece of cheese, that's true. So she packed a little bag and went merrily on her way. She found the air fresh and sweet, and the woods and meadows beautiful, carpeted as they were with wildflowers and filled with birdsong.
And is that a raccoon?
It is a raccoon.
If that raccoon tries to bite me, I'll try to do something with it to get it from biting me.
You're a silly boy.
So I would do something with him.
Very well. This country life is really rather pleasant, she thought, but when she sat down to dinner that evening, she found only some nuts and berries and a few stalks of wheat on her plate. How boring, she moaned to herself, already beginning to feel homesick. She picked at her food, eating just enough so that her friend's feelings would not be hurt. After dinner, the two went for a walk in the woods. The city mouse told her friend all about her wonderful life in town.
What's that? Oh, those crazy.
You know what those are.
Mushrooms.
Mushrooms.
But you never can tell what kind of mushrooms they are.
No, you never eat. Just eat mushrooms when you're outside because some of them are dangerous.
Maybe those are poisonous mushrooms.
It's possible. I don't know what kind of mushrooms they are. After dinner, the two went for a walk in the woods.
But
Yes?
for sure they call mushrooms toadstools. Toadstools.
You can have a little bit more after we finish this story. The city mouse told her friend all about her wonderful life in town, about the fine house in which she lived, and all the delicious food she enjoyed there. The country mouse was all ears. It was late when they returned home, and the two settled down for the night. The city mouse had a lot of trouble falling asleep. She was not at all used to the country's night sounds, hooting owls, croaking frogs, and buzzing bugs. The country mouse, on the other hand, was peacefully dreaming of all the things her friend had told her about life in the city. At breakfast the next morning, the city mouse found some nuts and berries and a few stalks of wheat on her plate. "Not again," she muttered to herself. "I've had just about enough of this country life." "How about coming to the city with me for a few days?" the city mouse asked her friend. "I'd love to," the country mouse replied, and they were soon on their way. When they arrived at the house in which the city mouse lived, they found the remains of a wonderful dinner on the dining room table. There was roast chicken. It certainly is. Jeez.
I like cheese.
Num num num. There was roast chicken with all the fixings.
Is that chicken?
A beautiful crumb cake. And a platter of the most delectable cheeses. The country mouse could hardly believe her eyes. The country mouse had just begun to nibble on a great slab of Swiss cheese when there was a sudden scratching, then a meowing, then a great orange blur as the house cat, charged into the dining room. The two mice raced for shelter under the legs of the tall china cupboard. They stood very still, barely breathing. After what seemed like hours, the cat finally left. "Just part of the excitement of city life," said the city mouse with a toss of her whiskers, and the two returned to their interrupted dinner. The country mouse, still a bit shaken, helped herself to a tasty morsel of crumb cake. Wham! Bam! In marched the boy of the house, followed by a great shaggy dog.
Say that again.
Wham! Bam! In marched the boy of the house, followed by a great shaggy dog. The two mice fled again, hiding this time in two china mugs. The boy and his dog left as quickly as they'd come.
Cake.
That is the cake.
I saw that cake.
Oh, num num.
Eat that cake on. Eat
Yum.
the cake on. Eat that cake. Eat on the dog.
The boy and his dog left as quickly as they'd come, and the house was soon quiet once more. The country mouse quickly fetched her belongings and spoke to her friend. "My dear, your house is grand indeed, and the food is truly marvelous. But I really prefer the quiet, simple life of the country." The two friends said their farewells and promised to visit.
What is that?
That is kind of a large kind of handkerchief, or what's that called?
Eat on those mice.
It's a large piece of cloth, and she ties up everything that she needs to take with her. It's kind of like a backpack. Kind of like your backpack. She uses a stick and a big piece of cloth, and she ties up what she needs to take with her. The two friends said their farewells.
What is that?
What does it look like?
I don't.
It's a hole in the wall,
Where's the
and
hole in the wall?
right back here. This is probably where the city mouse lives. She
Enjoy
goes
the
in here. She
hallway.
goes in there, and that's her house inside there behind the wall. The two friends said their farewells and promised to visit each other again someday, and perhaps they will.
Not a book.
Oh, really?
Yes.